Evil can no longer be hatefully condoned and violently resisted, and the wrongdoer is thought of with tender compassion. And this brings us to another aspect of evil, namely that of individual freedom, the right of every person to choose his own actions. Along with the seeing of evil in others is the desire to convert or coerce others into one's own ways of thinking and acting. Probably the commonest delusion in which men are involved is that of thinking that what they themselves believe and think and do is good, and all that is otherwise is evil, and therefore to be powerfully condemned and resisted. It is out of this delusion that all persecution springs. There are Christians who regard all atheists as men wholly evil, as given up to the service of an evil power, and there are atheists who firmly believe that all Christians are doing the greatest harm to the whole human race by their superstitious and false doctrines. The truth is that neither the Christian nor the atheist is evil, nor in the service of evil, but each is choosing his own way, and is pursuing that course which he is convinced is right. Let a man quietly contemplate the fact that numbers of followers of various religions the world over are, as they ever were, engaged in condemning each other as evil and wrong, and regarding themselves as good and right, and it will help him to realize how all evil is merely ignorance, spiritual darkness, and earnest meditation on that fact will be found to be one of the greatest aids in developing greater kindness, charity, insight, and breadth of mind. The truly wise and good man sees good in all, evil in none. He has abandoned the folly of wanting others to think and act as he thinks and acts, for he sees men are variously constituted, are at different points in their spiritual evolution, and must, of necessity, think and act differently. Having put away hatred, condemnation, egotism, and prejudice, he has become enlightened, and he sees that purity, love, compassion, gentleness, patience, humility, and unselfishness are manifestations of light and knowledge, while impurity, hatred, cruelty, passion, darkness, and ignorance, and that whether men are living in light or darkness, they are one and all doing that which they think is necessary, are acting in accordance with their own measure of light or darkness. The wise man understands, and understanding, he ceases from all bitterness and accusation. Every man acts in accordance with his nature, with his own sense of right and wrong, and is surely gathering in the results of his own experience. There is one supreme right which every being possesses, to think and act as he chooses. If he chooses to think and act selfishly, thinking of his own immediate happiness only and not that of others, then he will rapidly bring upon himself, by the action of the moral law of cause and effect, such afflictions as will cause him to pause and consider, and so find a better way. There is no teacher to compare with experience, no chastisement so corrective and purifying as that which men ignorantly inflict upon themselves. The selfish man is the ignorant man. He chooses his own way, but it is a way which leads to suffering, and through suffering, to knowledge and bliss. The good man is the wise man. He likewise chooses his own way, but he chooses it in the full light of knowledge, having passed through the stages of ignorance and suffering, and arrived at knowledge and bliss. A man begins to understand what seeing no evil is when putting away all personal desires in his judgments of others, so considers them from his own standpoint, and judges their actions not from his own standard, but from theirs. It is because men set up arbitrary standards of right and wrong, and are anxious that all should conform to their particular standard, that they see evil in each other. A man is only rightly judged when he is not judged from my standard or yours, but from his own, and to deal with him thus is not judgment, but it is love. It is only when we look through the eyes of the impersonal love that we become enlightened and see others as they really are, and a man is approaching that love when he can say in his heart, "Who am I that I should judge another? Am I so pure and sinless that I arraign men and pass the judgment of evil upon them? Rather let me humble myself and correct my own errors before assuming the position of supreme judge of those other men."